Today, let's take a moment to turn our attention inward to the beautiful journey of self-improvement. You see, improving yourself isn't about perfection. It's about peeling back the layers, about getting closer to the truest, most loving version of who you are. Self-improvement is often misunderstood as a path to perfection, a way to polish and refine ourselves until we become flawless versions of who we are. Yet, true self-improvement is much gentler and more accepting. It's a journey, not a destination. Rather than striving to be perfect, it's about embracing the process of growth, allowing ourselves to evolve in our own unique way, at our own pace. At its core, self-improvement is an exploration of our strengths, our weaknesses, and everything in between. It's about shedding light on our habits, our thoughts, and our patterns, and understanding them with compassion rather than judgment. When we approach self-improvement with this mindset, we start to see that it's not about fixing ourselves because we were never broken to begin with. Instead, self-improvement invites us to uncover our authentic selves, to nurture our potential, and to let go of the fears and beliefs that no longer serve us. As we journey on this path, there will be times when we stumble. Some days we may feel as though we've taken 2 steps back rather than 1 step forward. This is natural, and it's important to remember that setbacks are a part of growth. Progress is rarely linear, and expecting ourselves to make steady strides without ever faltering only sets us up for disappointment. Real self-improvement includes both progress and pause. It's in these pauses that we learn some of our most valuable lessons. When we encounter challenges or moments of self-doubt, these experiences give us a chance to practice resilience, patience, and self-compassion. They remind us that growth happens in cycles, with each phase contributing to our development in its own way. The journey of self-improvement also teaches us to celebrate small victories, to recognize and appreciate each step we take, no matter how minor it may seem. It's easy to overlook our achievements when we're constantly focusing on what's next. However, acknowledging our progress reinforces the positive changes we're making, creating a sense of motivation and fulfillment. When we take a moment to reflect on how far we've come, we're reminded that each day brings an opportunity for growth. These little moments of success are like stepping stones, guiding us along our path and encouraging us to keep moving forward. Another beautiful aspect of self-improvement as a journey is the way it encourages us to be present. Often we're so focused on the person we want to become that we lose sight of the person we are right now. The journey, however, is experienced moment by moment. It's in the small, everyday choices we make, in the way we speak to ourselves, and in the actions we take. When we bring our attention to the present, we're able to appreciate each part of the process. We learn to value the steps we're taking today instead of constantly worrying about tomorrow. This focus on the present allows us to engage more fully with our growth, and we begin to see improvement as a series of choices rather than a far-off goal. Self-improvement as a journey also invites us to view ourselves with gentleness. When we release the idea of perfection, we allow ourselves the space to make mistakes, to try new things, and to step outside our comfort zones without fear of failure. This mindset is liberating because it removes the pressure to get it right every time. Instead, we're free to experiment, to explore new interests, and to learn through experience. Each misstep becomes a valuable teacher, guiding us closer to understanding ourselves more deeply. A journey-focused approach to self-improvement also means acknowledging our own unique paths. Each of us has different strengths, weaknesses, and life experiences that shape who we are. When we embrace self-improvement as a journey, we stop comparing ourselves to others. We recognize that growth looks different for everyone, and there is no single way to measure our progress. This understanding fosters self-acceptance and allows us to define success on our own terms. We're no longer bound by societal expectations or other people's standards, but instead guided by our own inner compass. Moreover, self-improvement as a journey fosters patience. True growth doesn't happen overnight, and lasting change takes time. The journey encourages us to move forward gradually, to build habits and mindsets that will support us in the long run. It's about creating sustainable change, which often means taking things one step at a time. With patience, we're able to stay committed to our goals even when the results aren't immediate. We learn to trust in the process, knowing that each small action adds up over time. Ultimately, seeing self-improvement as a journey allows us to grow in a way that feels genuine and fulfilling. It's about building a relationship with ourselves, one that's rooted in respect and compassion. The goal isn't to become someone different, but to uncover the best version of ourselves, our authentic, true self. Along the way, we let go of the fears, doubts, and limitations that once held us back, and we begin to embrace a version of ourselves that is both powerful and beautifully imperfect. Self-improvement is an ongoing process, one that we continue throughout our lives. There will always be more to learn, more ways to grow, and more opportunities to become the person we aspire to be. But instead of feeling overwhelmed, we can take comfort in knowing that each day is a new chapter. With each step, we become a little closer to the person we're meant to be. And that journey, with all its ups and downs, is a gift in itself. In our pursuit of growth and success, it's common to fall into patterns of self-criticism, scrutinizing our every misstep, flaw, or shortcoming. Many of us have internalized the belief that self-criticism drives us to improve, that it keeps us accountable and propels us forward. But when we look closely, we see that self-criticism often does the opposite. It burdens us with doubt, diminishes our confidence, and leaves us feeling inadequate no matter how much progress we make. The alternative, self-compassion, offers a far healthier, more effective way to approach personal growth and challenges. Self-compassion is not about lowering our standards or excusing ourselves from responsibility. Rather, it's about relating to ourselves with kindness and understanding. When we view ourselves with compassion, we acknowledge that making mistakes, encountering setbacks, and facing struggles are all part of being human. Instead of judging ourselves harshly, we extend the same empathy and forgiveness that we would offer a friend in a similar situation. Self-compassion doesn't mean ignoring our faults, it means embracing them as part of the learning process without letting them define our worth. When we practice self-compassion, we create a safe space within ourselves to reflect on our actions, understand our motives, and recognize areas where we want to grow. Unlike self-criticism, which focuses on tearing down, self-compassion builds up our resilience and self-esteem. By choosing compassion, we send ourselves a powerful message: we are worthy of love and respect, even as we work on our imperfections. This internal foundation of self-acceptance empowers us to face challenges without fear of failure or rejection. In moments of difficulty, self-compassion becomes especially vital. When we encounter failure or face a setback, it's easy to turn on ourselves, blaming our intelligence, capabilities, or worthiness. But this response only intensifies our suffering and leaves us feeling isolated. Self-compassion, on the other hand, encourages us to meet hardship with warmth and understanding. We remind ourselves that it's okay to struggle, that everyone has moments of difficulty, and that we don't have to bear the burden alone. This shift in mindset reduces stress and opens the door to problem solving and resilience. Self-compassion is also a profound way to foster personal growth. While self-criticism often leaves us feeling defensive or ashamed, self-compassion opens up space for honest self-reflection. When we're kind to ourselves, we're better able to look at our mistakes objectively and learn from them. Instead of fearing the truth, we become curious about it. We ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? Rather than, why did I mess up again? This compassionate approach encourages growth because it helps us see challenges as opportunities rather than threats. Furthermore, self-compassion enhances our relationships. When we're kinder to ourselves, we're naturally more understanding and compassionate toward others. We stop projecting our own harsh judgments onto the people around us, and instead we become sources of support and encouragement. Self-compassion allows us to connect with others on a deeper level, as we recognize that everyone has their own struggles and insecurities. By embracing our own humanity, we also accept the humanity of others, building stronger, more authentic relationships. Another benefit of self-compassion is its impact on our mental and emotional well-being. Studies have shown that self-compassionate individuals experience lower levels of anxiety, depression, and stress. This is because self-compassion creates an internal environment where we feel safe and valued. When we stop berating ourselves, we reduce the harmful effects of negative self-talk, which can otherwise keep us trapped in cycles of worry and self-doubt. With self-compassion, we can approach each day with a sense of peace, knowing that we have our own support no matter what life brings. Practicing self-compassion doesn't mean we ignore our responsibilities or become complacent. On the contrary, self-compassion gives us the strength to face life's challenges with courage and resilience. When we treat ourselves kindly, we're better able to recover from setbacks and approach problems with a clear mind. We no longer fear failure because we know that our worth isn't defined by our successes or shortcomings. This frees us to take risks, try new things, and pursue our dreams without the paralyzing fear of criticism. Developing self-compassion can be a gradual process, especially if we're used to being self-critical. It often begins with becoming aware of our inner dialogue. Pay attention to the way you speak to yourself, particularly during difficult moments. When you catch yourself being overly critical, pause and consider how you would respond if a friend were in your shoes. Often we're much kinder to others than we are to ourselves. By shifting our self-talk in a compassionate direction, we begin to rewire our thinking patterns. It can also be helpful to practice mindfulness as part of self-compassion. Mindfulness allows us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment, helping us to see them as temporary experiences rather than permanent definitions of who we are. When we accept our emotions as natural responses, we stop resisting or suppressing them. Instead, we create a space of understanding where we can feel our emotions fully without letting them control us. Another practice in self-compassion is acknowledging our common humanity. We all face challenges, make mistakes, and experience pain. When we remember that we're not alone in our struggles, we soften the harsh judgments we place on ourselves. This sense of shared humanity helps us stay grounded and connected, reminding us that imperfection is part of being human. Self-compassion over self-criticism doesn't mean we won't feel disappointment or frustration with ourselves. It simply means we meet these feelings with understanding and patience rather than harshness. By choosing compassion, we create an inner environment that supports growth, resilience, and peace. In doing so, we become not only kinder to ourselves, but also stronger, more confident, and more open to life's experiences. Self-compassion is a gift we give ourselves, one that can transform our lives from within. In a world driven by social media, comparisons, and constant external feedback, it's easy to feel that our worth is tied to how others perceive us. Validation from others can feel reassuring and even necessary at times, as if it's a measure of our value or success. But relying solely on external validation can create a shaky foundation. When we seek validation outside of ourselves, we hand over our sense of worth to circumstances and opinions that are beyond our control. This dependence can lead to feelings of insecurity and a lack of fulfillment because no matter how much approval we receive, there is always the possibility that it may be fleeting. True, lasting self-worth comes from inner validation, the ability to recognize and honor our own value independently of external praise or criticism. Inner validation begins with self-acceptance. It's about embracing ourselves as we are with all our strengths, weaknesses, imperfections, and uniqueness. When we validate ourselves, we acknowledge our own inherent worth without waiting for someone else to confirm it. This practice of self-recognition is powerful because it allows us to appreciate who we are instead of constantly striving to become what we think others want us to be. We stop chasing an ideal that's shaped by other people's expectations and begin to live more authentically. By accepting ourselves, we create a stable foundation from which true growth and fulfillment can arise. Building inner validation requires us to shift our focus from external to internal measures of worth. Instead of basing our self-esteem on praise, rewards, or status, we turn inward to evaluate our own values, efforts, and intentions. When we measure ourselves against our own standards, we cultivate a sense of autonomy and strength. For example, rather than waiting for someone to commend us on our work, we can ask ourselves whether we put forth our best effort and stay true to our values. This internal acknowledgement becomes our anchor, grounding us in our own sense of purpose and integrity, regardless of outside opinions. One of the challenges with inner validation is overcoming the fear of criticism or rejection. Many of us fear that if we don't align with others' expectations, we may be seen as less worthy or capable. This fear can lead us to conform, to seek approval, and to base our decisions on others' perspectives rather than our own. But inner validation requires the courage to trust in ourselves and our decisions, even when they differ from the norm. When we make choices that resonate with our values, we reinforce our sense of self and build resilience against criticism. Instead of shrinking in the face of disapproval, we learn to stand firm in our beliefs, knowing that our worth isn't dependent on others' opinions. Another important aspect of inner validation is self-compassion. To truly validate ourselves, we must be willing to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, especially in moments of failure or self-doubt. Often we are our own harshest critics, quick to judge ourselves for any perceived shortcomings. However, self-compassion allows us to offer ourselves the same empathy we would extend to a friend. When we validate ourselves from a place of compassion, we acknowledge our efforts and intentions, even if the outcomes aren't perfect. This compassionate perspective helps us move forward without being weighed down by guilt or regret. Inner validation also empowers us to pursue our goals and dreams authentically. When we're driven by the need for external approval, we may find ourselves following paths that don't truly align with our passions or values. However, when we validate ourselves, we gain clarity about what genuinely fulfills us. We begin to make choices that align with our inner aspirations, rather than bending to fit societal expectations or others' definitions of success. This authenticity allows us to pursue our ambitions with purpose and satisfaction, creating a life that reflects our true self. Practicing inner validation doesn't mean we ignore feedback from others or live in isolation. It simply means that we take external feedback as information rather than the final word on our worth. Constructive feedback can be valuable for growth, but when we're grounded in inner validation, we're able to discern which feedback aligns with our values and which doesn't. We listen to others with an open mind, but we don't allow their opinions to define us. This balance gives us the flexibility to grow and learn while staying rooted in our self-worth. Inner validation also liberates us from the exhausting cycle of comparison. When we constantly compare ourselves to others, we lose sight of our own unique journey and accomplishments. Inner validation helps us focus on our personal growth and recognize our progress without the need to measure up to others. It allows us to appreciate our individuality and value our distinct path. Instead of feeling inadequate because someone else seems to be ahead, we learn to celebrate our own milestones, no matter how small they may seem in comparison. In embracing inner validation, we cultivate a sense of peace and contentment. No longer are we at the mercy of fleeting opinions or the ups and downs of external circumstances. Inner validation anchors us in a stable sense of worth, allowing us to approach life with confidence and trust in ourselves. We become resilient in the face of challenges, knowing that we can handle whatever comes our way because our worth isn't contingent on outside factors. The practice of inner validation is a lifelong journey, one that deepens as we grow and evolve. As we continue to validate ourselves from within, we build a foundation of unwavering self-acceptance and inner strength. This foundation not only enriches our lives, but also enhances our relationships, our work, and our ability to contribute meaningfully to the world. Inner validation frees us to live authentically, unburdened by the need for approval, and allows us to become the best version of ourselves on our own terms. The connection between the mind and body is a powerful and intricate relationship that influences nearly every aspect of our well-being. For centuries, this connection has been recognized across different cultures and medical systems, but in modern times, scientific research has further underscored its impact. Our thoughts, emotions, and mental states don't simply reside in the mind, they manifest physically in our bodies and affect our health in profound ways. When we understand and nurture this mind-body connection, we can improve our physical health, enhance our emotional well-being, and lead more balanced, fulfilling lives. One of the clearest ways the mind influences the body is through the stress response. When we perceive a situation as threatening or overwhelming, our brain triggers a cascade of physiological responses, the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, an increased heart rate and heightened alertness. This response, known as fight or flight, was essential for survival in early human history. However, in today's world, where stressors are often psychological rather than physical, prolonged stress can take a toll on our bodies. Chronic stress can contribute to a range of health issues, including high blood pressure, weakened immune function, digestive problems, and even cardiovascular disease. It's not just about feeling stressed, it's about how stress permeates our physical being. The mind-body connection is also evident in how our mental states impact our immune system. Research has shown that positive emotional states, such as feelings of joy, gratitude, and compassion, can enhance immune function, making the body more resilient to illness. Conversely, negative mental states like chronic worry, anger, or sadness can weaken the immune system over time, leaving us more susceptible to infections and other health issues. This connection reveals that tending to our emotional health can be just as vital as managing physical symptoms. Embracing practices that promote emotional well-being, such as meditation, mindfulness, or therapy, can have profound positive effects on our physical health by supporting a balanced immune response. Another example of the mind-body connection can be found in the placebo effect. When patients believe that a treatment will help them, even if it's a sugar pill with no active ingredients, they often experience real improvements in their symptoms. This phenomenon isn't just in their head. The belief in healing triggers physiological responses in the brain that alleviate pain or discomfort. The placebo effect illustrates the incredible power of the mind over the body. If our beliefs alone can lead to real changes in our physical state, then nurturing a positive, hopeful mindset becomes a crucial element of healing and wellness. Pain is another area where the mind and body interact closely. While pain is a physical sensation, it's profoundly influenced by our mental state. Studies have shown that people who feel anxious, fearful, or distressed often experience heightened pain, while those with a more positive or calm mindset may experience pain less intensely. Techniques like mindfulness, meditation, and cognitive behavioral therapy can help people reframe their experience of pain and manage it more effectively. These methods don't eliminate pain, but rather help individuals respond to it differently, reducing the suffering associated with it. This mind-body approach to pain management is especially valuable for those dealing with chronic pain, offering a way to live more comfortably despite their condition. The mind-body connection also plays a significant role in our ability to recover from illness or injury. A positive outlook and a sense of purpose have been linked to faster recovery times and better health outcomes. Patients who believe in their capacity to heal, stay hopeful, and engage in supportive relationships tend to fare better than those who feel hopeless or isolated. This doesn't mean that optimism alone can cure all ailments, but it does mean that a positive mindset can be a powerful complement to medical treatment, enhancing its effects and supporting the body's natural healing processes. Physical activity is one of the most effective ways to harness the mind-body connection. Exercise doesn't just strengthen the body, it boosts mental health by releasing endorphins and other feel-good chemicals that reduce stress and elevate mood. Activities like yoga, tai chi, and other forms of movement that emphasize mindful awareness can be particularly beneficial as they integrate both mental and physical aspects of wellness. These practices encourage us to pay attention to our breath, posture, and sensations, helping to quiet the mind and reduce stress. In doing so, they offer a holistic approach to health, promoting not only physical fitness but also emotional balance and mental clarity. Another crucial aspect of the mind-body connection is the role of mental practices like visualization and positive affirmation. Visualization, or mentally rehearsing positive outcomes, can be a powerful tool for both mental and physical well-being. Athletes, for example, often use visualization techniques to improve their performance by mentally rehearsing each step of their actions. This technique helps not only with physical performance but also with confidence and focus. Similarly, positive affirmation statements that affirm our worth, strength, or health can help reframe our self-perception, fostering a positive mental environment that supports physical well-being. When we engage in these practices regularly, we strengthen our belief in ourselves and our ability to handle life's challenges. The relationship between the mind and body also reminds us of the importance of balance. Just as our mental state affects our body, our physical state can also influence our mind. Poor sleep, an unhealthy diet, or lack of physical activity can all negatively impact our mood, energy levels, and cognitive function. By taking care of our bodies through good nutrition, exercise, and rest, we support our mental health as well. This holistic approach to health recognizes that mind and body are interdependent. What we do to nourish one inevitably nourishes the other. Ultimately, the mind-body connection offers a pathway to wellness that acknowledges the interconnectedness of all aspects of our being. When we approach our health with this awareness, we become empowered to make choices that support our whole self. We understand that caring for our mental state is just as important as caring for our physical body, and we recognize the potential for healing that exists within our own minds. The mind-body connection is a reminder that we are not separate parts, but a unified whole. And by nurturing both mind and body, we cultivate a state of health that is resilient, balanced, and deeply fulfilling. Patience and forgiveness are powerful qualities that nurture both inner peace and healthy relationships. At first glance, they may seem like passive or even indulgent virtues, but they are, in fact, strengths that require resilience, compassion, and a deep understanding of ourselves and others. Patience allows us to tolerate discomfort, delays, or differences with a sense of calm, while forgiveness enables us to release past hurts and resentments. Together, they form a powerful duo that frees us from emotional burdens, enhances our well-being, and creates more harmonious connections with the people around us. Patience begins with the acceptance that life does not always unfold according to our plans or schedules. It requires recognizing that we have limited control over people and circumstances, no matter how much we may wish otherwise. This acceptance does not mean giving up or passively allowing things to happen. Rather, it means learning to wait with grace and understanding. When we practice patience, we allow ourselves to stay present, to focus on what we can do here and now, instead of being consumed by frustration over what we cannot change. It's an invitation to release the pressure of expectations and to approach challenges with a calmer mindset. One of the most challenging aspects of patience is learning to be patient with ourselves. Many of us have an internal critic that insists we should be achieving more, doing better, or reaching our goals faster. This self-imposed pressure can lead to stress, anxiety, and even burnout. By practicing patience with ourselves, we give ourselves permission to grow at our own pace. We begin to see that self-compassion, not harsh judgment, is what truly supports progress. In accepting our current abilities and circumstances, we create a nurturing environment for growth. Patience reminds us that change and improvement take time, and that we are worthy of grace and understanding along the way. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is often seen as a gift we give to others, but it's just as much a gift we give to ourselves. Holding on to resentment, anger, or hurt can feel like a form of protection, a way to ensure we're not vulnerable to being hurt again. However, carrying these negative emotions can weigh us down and keep us trapped in a cycle of pain. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning hurtful actions or forgetting them. It means deciding to release the hold that those past events have on us. It's a choice to free ourselves from emotional shackles, making room for healing and peace. Forgiving others is an act of courage and self-respect. It allows us to acknowledge the pain caused while choosing not to let it define our future. In choosing forgiveness, we affirm that our well-being and peace of mind matter more than holding on to grudges. However, forgiveness is often not a single event, but a process. It takes time to work through our feelings, to reach a place of understanding, and to let go fully. It is important to honor this process and to be patient with ourselves as we navigate it. By doing so, we create the space for genuine healing to take root. A crucial aspect of forgiveness is understanding that everyone is human and all humans make mistakes. This perspective can help us empathize with others, recognizing that people often act out of their own pain, insecurities, or misunderstandings. By acknowledging the humanity in others, we're able to let go of unrealistic expectations that people should never fail or disappoint us. This understanding doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it allows us to respond with compassion rather than resentment. When we view others through a lens of empathy, we open ourselves to deeper, more meaningful relationships that are resilient and compassionate. Patience and forgiveness are also interdependent. Patience provides the space for forgiveness to develop, while forgiveness frees us from the need to control or rush things, reinforcing our patience. Together, they foster an inner peace that radiates into our relationships. When we practice patience with others, we give them the grace to make mistakes, to grow, and to learn in their own time. This creates a safe, supportive environment where both we and the people around us can flourish. Similarly, By forgiving ourselves and others, we release the past and allow ourselves to move forward without the heavy burden of regret or bitterness. These qualities, when practiced consistently, become powerful tools for creating a balanced, fulfilling life. In our daily lives, we encounter numerous opportunities to practice patience and forgiveness, whether it's in dealing with a slow driver, a difficult coworker, or even ourselves. Each situation is a chance to choose understanding over frustration, compassion over judgment. The more we practice, the more these qualities become ingrained in our character, enabling us to approach life's challenges with a calm and open heart. While patience and forgiveness are often associated with kindness towards others, they are just as essential for cultivating self-love. Patience with ourselves allows us to let go of perfectionism, to see mistakes as part of the learning process rather than as failures. Forgiveness, likewise, allows us to make peace with our past actions, freeing us from the weight of regret and self-blame. These qualities encourage us to be gentle with ourselves, to embrace our imperfections, and to move forward with greater confidence and self-acceptance. The journey to embody patience and forgiveness is ongoing. There will be times when we find it hard to be patient, when anger or resentment feels overwhelming. It's in these moments that we must remind ourselves that growth is a process, and that even the desire to practice these qualities is a step forward. Each time we choose patience over frustration or forgiveness over resentment, we strengthen our inner resilience and our capacity for love. Over time, we build a life that reflects our deepest values, one that is rich in understanding, peace, and connection. In nurturing patience and forgiveness within ourselves, we create an environment where we and those around us can thrive. We become more resilient, better equipped to handle challenges, and more at peace with our journey. These qualities aren't simply about letting go. They are about actively creating space for love, growth, and joy. By embracing patience and forgiveness, we cultivate a heart that is open, a mind that is calm, and a spirit that is ready to embrace life in all its fullness. Transformation through self-love is a profound journey that leads to a deeper understanding of ourselves and an enriched, more fulfilling life. When we embrace self-love, we are not merely indulging in feel-good practices or surface-level positivity. We are engaging in a journey of acceptance, compassion, and empowerment that has the potential to reshape every aspect of our existence. Self-love is about genuinely appreciating who we are, recognizing our worth, and caring for ourselves as we would a dear friend. This internal transformation allows us to break free from limiting beliefs, heal from past wounds, and step into a more authentic, joyful version of ourselves. At the heart of self-love is the realization that we are inherently worthy of love and kindness, just as we are. Many of us have internalized beliefs from past experiences, relationships, or societal expectations that suggest we need to be better or different to be worthy. We might believe we need to look a certain way, achieve specific goals, or be constantly productive to feel good about ourselves. However, the transformative power of self-love lies in challenging these beliefs and recognizing that our worth is not dependent on any external measure. Instead, it comes from within. Self-love encourages us to honor our unique qualities, strengths, and even our flaws, allowing us to build a solid foundation of self-worth that isn't shaken by external factors. One of the most empowering aspects of self-love is that it shifts our focus from self-criticism to self-compassion. Many of us are our own harshest critics, constantly pointing out our mistakes or imperfections. While self-criticism can sometimes motivate us to improve, it more often holds us back by instilling feelings of inadequacy or fear of failure. Self-love, on the other hand, replaces judgment with compassion. It allows us to view ourselves with empathy, understanding that we are human, with strengths and weaknesses. By treating ourselves with kindness, especially during difficult times, we create a safe space for growth. Self-compassion gives us the courage to try new things, learn from our experiences, and make mistakes without the burden of harsh judgment. It's a reminder that we are always deserving of love, even when we stumble. Transforming through self-love also involves setting healthy boundaries. Boundaries are essential for protecting our energy, maintaining our sense of self, and ensuring that our relationships are based on mutual respect. When we lack self-love, we may find ourselves overextending, saying yes when we mean no, or putting others' needs before our own. We might feel guilty for setting boundaries or worry about disappointing others. However, as we cultivate self-love, we come to understand that setting boundaries is not selfish, it is a form of self-respect. It allows us to prioritize our well-being and to show up more authentically in our relationships. By learning to say no when necessary and honoring our own needs, we create a life that feels balanced and sustainable. Self-love also encourages us to embrace self-care as a non-negotiable part of our lives. Self-care is often mistaken for indulgence, but it is actually about meeting our basic physical, emotional, and mental needs. It involves taking the time to rest, nourish our bodies, engage in activities that bring us joy, and prioritize our mental health. Through self-love, we come to see self-care as an essential part of honoring ourselves. It's about recognizing that we deserve to feel good, to be healthy, and to have time for relaxation and creativity. Self-care isn't a luxury, it's a way of affirming our worth and supporting our ability to live fully. Self-love also transforms our relationships as it shifts our perspective on what we accept and seek from others. When we love ourselves, we no longer seek validation or approval from external sources because we are already grounded in our own sense of worth. This doesn't mean that we don't value connection. It means that our relationships become rooted in mutual respect rather than neediness or dependence. We no longer settle for relationships that are draining, disrespectful, or unfulfilling because we know that we deserve love that aligns with the respect we have for ourselves. This change can be empowering, allowing us to form deeper, healthier connections based on love rather than fear or insecurity. One of the most significant aspects of transformation through self-love is that it helps us embrace our true selves. Self-love encourages us to shed the masks or personas we may have developed to fit in or please others. Instead, we begin to express ourselves authentically, knowing that we are enough just as we are. We become more comfortable with our individuality, allowing us to pursue passions, make choices, and live in a way that reflects our true values. Living authentically can be incredibly liberating, freeing us from the pressure to conform and empowering us to live in alignment with our inner truth. The journey of self-love also brings healing. Many of us carry wounds from past experiences, times when we felt unloved, rejected, or unworthy. Self-love invites us to gently address these wounds and offer ourselves the love that may have been missing. It's a process of healing old pain by treating ourselves with the kindness and acceptance we may not have received. This healing is essential as it frees us from patterns of self-doubt or self-sabotage that may have held us back in the past. Through self-love, we reclaim our power to live as we choose, unhindered by past hurts. Ultimately, transformation through self-love is an ongoing journey. It requires patience, practice, and a willingness to confront our own insecurities and limiting beliefs. It's not about reaching a point where we are perfect or have everything figured out. Rather, it's about embracing a mindset of unconditional acceptance and compassion for ourselves. Every small act of self-love, whether it's forgiving ourselves for a mistake, Allowing time for rest or celebrating our achievements reinforces our sense of worth and empowers us to create a life that feels true to who we are. Self-love doesn't transform us into someone different. It helps us to become more fully ourselves, whole, empowered, and at peace. In embracing self-love, we unlock the potential for growth, healing, and a life filled with joy and purpose.